self-limited nature. Why the nature has such of a few things which disappear completely on. This might be example things like human languages. There are so many different languages which are not at talk about, not speaking on, not really represented in words. They are all gone, or they never to be applied, they never exist in a current moment, in a certain presence of a certain single frame of time. There is limiting amount of finite term of object in existing. Example of planet Earth, it would be having only finite amount of different living species, would be living among the different kind of object in it, because it would be always have exact same amount of material. Understood in the terms of a reality where the material energy are not convertible, meaning that it's not that they would be not disappear anywhere in existence. It would be held to the same amount of material and energy, no matter what should happen in the case. It happens to the first law of thermodynamics, the conversation law. It would be always have the same amount of energy. The wave it is constant, the amount of the material, nothing would disappear, nothing will become created for a nothing. Created for to obvious seemingly. And that will meaning that the nature would be always every cause situation would be only appear if it's some element have been allowed with such a thing to become existing. Alright, what does this mean? This meaning that the only things what existing in reality are those things what the causation of the past as allowed to the history or the past allowed now. Well, what are all the possibilities then it could be? What example the reality does it have? Or it doesn't have light year or wide example as sports stadiums. How I know these are not existing like these kind of things. Where there is example like other things like interstellar high rods made of packet diamonds. Why it is? Because the physics of the nature doesn't allow those to exist. The gravity would be tear apart any kind of forces. Dedication. The nature forces doesn't simply allow those things existing. This would be the same thing would be existing. The kind of think about the exceptionally huge kind of to the complexity to the patient to the light sources occasion will be self-hologramming of the around. What I mean, you have the ideas, you have to realize those ideas, to putting a camera on. Alright, you can impress to try to any kind of a possibility basically. Alright, what about the universe made of the quarks, 3 quarks occasion going fluxing around? Alright, what about those quarks which are going making of the huge superstructure which are not the spheres, because you see in the universe of the gravity and pretty much any labs in Euclidean geometry will be causing that all the objects in the universe pretty much when it comes to stellar size would be always pretty much be spheres. Where are the stars which are example a different kind of formation? Why we cannot have planets which are not spheres but which actually are cubes, cubicles? Why not cubicles? Where is all the cubicles? Why this nature of the universe is so discriminating against the cubicles? It is because the kind of fundamental laws on the very basic physical extension of the frames doesn't allow this happen. Here we have it. It is same to any other things. Listen, the thing is that those laws fundamental shape in every kind of a thing possible. That means that it necessarily doesn't need to be something universal, a super brain structure, make it of the human brains. But these human brains will be a size of but then complex solar masses, solar masses, but the complex solar masses, brain, the same density the human brain, same shape, but the size would be exceptionally. This is going to be, of course, the most and biggest kind of a fantasy on the sound, but it goes showing that if this kind of thing doesn't would be a nation, it is only because of the fundamental law of the gravity, fundamental law of the forces doesn't simply allow those things. But there is no causation, there is no some creature or some mind which would be putting in a town. The same token is to say that everything in a nature has its own fundamental to the cause initial where it has been the paper determined. Alright, to know into the natural exceptionally the magnitude of the variance what it is said. If we move to understand example the different kind of society which have a huge amount of population, or how many different type of the person it could maximally have it. Alright, if example the population would be 5 million, if every other unit would be every of isolation will be able to speak 3 languages, no of the other could be spoke. Alright, we pronounce that everybody therefore be spoken 3 times of the total population. Alright, this doesn't work in a real world, obvious reason, but it's easy to say that it would be meaning there would be 50 million different languages. They are all separate and none of them are same in this kind of ways. Alright, doesn't work in a real universe. It is because the other real natural causes doesn't allow those things happen whatsoever. And it is not necessarily a decision to make any of the human beings, because after all humans, or to others, the population, civilization, they don't make decisions. In a fundamental pragmatistic universe, the decision are nobody makes decision. It's just the material cause of the universe is a whole as a one, and that's important to knowledge about the universe as a whole as one. That how the structure, how the beings all to able to understanding that it is would be less of any concerns or what those things ever happen in it. Do there comes a living species come? Is there some the huge structures? You have no concern are to existing. The universe was created for eventually huge deep heat with be attention. The most important would be known. It is of course anthropic principle to the only knowledge of the certain kind of the universe was created in instant one moment, and it then became in certain kind of phases. Alright, it is just limiting of the knowledge here where there could be a standpoint. It is only to have this. After all, everything can be over possible out of those sorts of frameworks, the self-limited factor, self-limited knowledge factor, because there is always the knowledge is a limited factor, and what is the subjective. So here the self are able even to understand the self, that whatever the person know and think, it doesn't necessarily mean anything about the real universe and far beyond, because everything after is possible and beyond those, everything what is not observable is possible. This means it's never to put any fact that there is nothing, those things are not after all it is. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything that they are exist in nature. The only thing it could be say that there is always limiting for a subject to able observing the things, and therefore there is always limited factor of the size of its own. Alright. And it's very interesting to say how to say one thing one like to the worshipping. Alright, now here now I like to starting myself to the easy way to learning to the pronunciation of the global franca. Unfortunately, certain language has taken a massive amount of importance or dominance. That's the more important things. It seems that the one is getting more dominant. Like all the things in a world, is there anything else that's always the certain traits, certain singular things, like more lesser and lesser companies dominate more and more lesser and lesser different people have a more and more influence, power, less and less different kind of systems. It seems to be that the superstructures and the smaller structures seem to always give up this nature, the viewpoint that the weak, the more that it is a bigger systems will be always a take over to the smaller ones. It seems to be that wherever looking on the future reality itself, wherever looking at the reality, it seems to always that the certain emergence patterns going a different viewpoint on the size of the different object, different kind of, it is easy to say example atoms, that they are always never free from anything. They are always constructed to the certain kind of a type of finite being, and therefore they are always only to the cause of the smaller level affluence. if there's infinite regression, mean that there is infinite amount of different size, like a universe, that there is never there's something which is undividable. There is never come small code the size of inertia. There don't come any kind of wall that cannot get anywhere under that. This is important noticifying that, because the subject in the quantum reality, there comes in the subject could never able to break through that kind of wall. You should call it domain wall. It is something like example of one inertia. If it would be to able to break through that wall, it would be need all the energy in the whole existence. But itself, it would be meaning that the itself are able ever breaking through. This is important knowledge about the self-limitation potentially to ever to able example observing beyond of the existential limits of the light speak and observe a universe where there is to get a kind of a view. Everything else is a blocking. It is the idea of censorship, a cosmic type. It is censorship on the all kind of limitation. It is first of course understood it is the cosmic scale and far beyond example the furthest galaxies away. The same code to say when it goes to now small size quantum size, it would be again come the same domain wall, would be meaning that it's simple impossible to ever break in now small size. More and more smaller you need, more and more you need to be able to ever input energy. So therefore people or those entities which are interested always creating smaller, always are gonna use more energy, resources and everything, because they have a curiosity to always discover what is even down here with this smaller. But the fact is that no matter how much they can ever use it, there is always going to be find more smaller structures, with the meaning that they need to be destroy everything in the whole universe, use all the energy to be able to achieve those things, and therefore there would be a taking. What we mean here is that the certain things like a scientist are seemingly exploiting all the other resources, their life, worth, human capacity, importance, money, effort to their own end, the end of the need to know. They need to know they're putting a huge money, governmental money are putting in this simply searching of those things. It is of course here not the custom saying it that the person is here resisting such, but it's the fact that they are exploiting of the weak and exploiting, because they never are enough. There is never enough the creed of the need to know, and whatever they ever gonna find out here is that it's never are gonna enough. This is never ending a cycle, never the cycle of the greediness, never the cycle of curiosity, and that curiosity is always a fundamental detriment for so many other things and beings. It's every kind of action, always every action always a reaction. This meaning that whatever reaction is always self-limiting to other factors in life. And this is interesting importance to put the politics and empathies to value words that why those the curiosity to need to know how the universe are is more important example than to example the life of the billions and millions of human beings, which would be do they seemingly to be a sacrifice of the scientific testes. Seemingly like so many animal species are always the path of interest of the humans who has never ending interest in needs. And this is because the nature always the giving to might make right type of the ideology, where all the things with the bigger are, the more they're willing to exploit to the weaker one and exploit to any kind of capacity to the affairs. So is there any kind of out of this kind of a rat race? Is there any kind of outdoor? Is there any kind of some kind of a safe house? Different species which are not ever going to be exterminated, which are not going to be is there in a world allowing to the universe, the nature ever allowing status quo and the kind of things like this, that they can safe house, some kind of the ceremony they will be able the prosper living in kind. And it is seemingly that the more and more attention, because there is such of infinity things after all, that there is no unlimited amount of resources. There is always in a sense of a limiting. example here in the whole earth, even if all the matter will be able to every single material, every single of it, the particle are able to transform different kind of a material, except a cold, meaning that there is that it wouldn't allow any other things to exist in. All the other elements would be disappear vanishing in the same moment, except all the power energy is transformed into one kind of type thing to another one kind of thing, and therefore with the formal being is broken down. It's like annihilation of the kind of things. And here coming to value of the kind of conservative person. Conservative person have appeared to tradition, appeared to beings, not just what are existing now, but necessarily this is a very important question of in general any kind of ever decision make, any those what is the words of being, of what has a fundamental right to exist, what have a fundamental right to being, and what is a fundamental right usually to anything at all in the world.